If you're over 50, you own rental properties, and you've started wondering whether real estate is actually going to create enough income to get you through your retirement, then this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm going to show you the hidden traps that the gurus didn't about how rental properties can actually leave you broke. I've spent years building a real estate portfolio thinking I was building retirement security because real estate equals cash flow equals passive retirement income, right? Turns out I was building a second job with no benefits and no exit strategy. And here's the thing that nobody tells you when you buy your first rental. Managing rental properties is a job. It has shifts. It has emergency call-ins. So if you think you've actually invested in real estate, hey, you really just bought yourself a job. And unlike your 9-to-5 job, you can't just quit. I'm Harry. I'm Grandpa the Pilot from the prairies in Canada, and I've been helping burned out landlords find a better path long enough to know this. Most landlords over 50 are sitting on a ticking time bomb, and they don't even see it. So today, I want to talk about one specific assumption that most every landlord in that position is making right now. And I want to show you exactly why it's dangerous. Because I believed it, and I went all in with my real estate business, and a lot of other smart, hardworking folks that I knew believed it too. But when I actually ran the numbers, and I mean really ran them, back around August of 22, the picture changed. And let me tell you, that change was not very encouraging. So here's the assumption that most real estate investors make. It's that my rental income is passive, and it's going to carry me through my retirement. And here's what worries me most about that assumption. By the time most landlords realize it, their options have already narrowed by a lot. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I've been investing in real estate for 20 years now. Now, the joke was that I used to own a small town. Now I really just own the street. And on paper, I was pulling in a pretty good chunk of change every month in rent, not including the debt pay down. So it sounds pretty decent for what I had invested, right? Here's what my months actually looked like. I'd have one property where a long-term tenant just moved out. And I'd have a month's gap with no rent while I did all the renos and got it cleaned up and ready for somebody new. And that's just the way it was. But then, on my next property, the furnace went. $4,400. And of course, it's an emergency because it's the middle of winter. You need a furnace, right? I had 3 properties that all needed new roofs in the same summer. And now that's maybe 2 months of cash flow gone in just the space of a couple months. Now add property taxes going up, insurance going up, utilities going up. Can you see how that monthly cash flow can start turning into me having to reach into my pocket just to keep all the bills paid for the month? My rent collections were turning into payments due long before I ever took a nickel for myself. And that's before I factored in folks that stopped paying their rent, and I was stuck feeding a full house for a few months while the eviction went through. I wasn't failing. I had good real estate, and I did exactly what I was supposed to be doing according to all the gurus and the teachers that I had. But I never really had a real estate exit strategy. What I had was hope. Hope that the rents would be able to go up enough to cover the increases in pretty much everything. Hope that the next month would be better. Spoiler alert, it usually wasn't. And hope is not a retirement plan. So why does rental income fail the retirement test so miserably? I want to give you 3 specific reasons. And I want you to be honest with yourself if you're experiencing any of these pains as I go through each one. Here's reason number 1. It's not passive. It just feels passive between problems. When nothing's going wrong and real estate values continue going up, rentals feel pretty easy. But once you hang up your 9-to-5, your income needs to be dependable every single month, not just the months where nothing breaks, nobody stops paying, and the furnaces keep running. Now, you've probably had to write a pretty big check to get that rental property in the first place. And I speak from experience when I say that it hurts to see that you could have made better, more reliable income with less headaches if you'd have just bought a government bond. Now, here's reason number 2. It's a single point of failure. If you've got 2 or 3 rental properties and one goes sideways with a vacancy, a major repair, or maybe a difficult tenant, and you end up not only not getting income from that property, but far too often you have to feed that property from your other rentals. And that's when your retirement math breaks. because real retirement income doesn't have single points of failure built in. The best income systems all have multiple paths to generate revenue. Wealthy folks learned this lesson years ago. They learned to set themselves up so that any one failure won't affect the other revenue streams or crash the whole system. And if the multiple income strategy is good enough for people with money, don't you think it should be good enough for you as well? So here's reason number 3. Somebody else controls all your costs and the market controls your exit. You have no control over how much City Hall raises your property taxes each year, or how much some actuary in an office somewhere raises your insurance premiums. And try going back to the tax department because your assessment values on your rental are way out to lunch. Believe me, I've tried it. It gets you nowhere. And if some switch in the employment market causes jobs to disappear and families to move away, all of a sudden you discover that you can't get the rent you need to cover all the bills and expenses on a property. And you end up having to feed it. And when you're ready to sell, or if you get to the point you're actually forced to sell to stop the bleeding, the market doesn't care. Interest rates might be high. Buyers might be scarce. Your property might need $30,000 in work before it's marketable. Believe me, it's happened to me. Far too many of us have learned the hard way that real estate doesn't always go up in value. A real estate exit strategy means that you choose the timing, not the market, not a leaky roof, not a tenant who trashes the place on the way out, and definitely not the folks that get paid no matter whether you get to keep your rental property or lose it. So here's the shift that I want you to make today. Stop thinking like a landlord. Start thinking like a retirement income designer. Now here's the difference. A landlord asks, how much rent am I collecting and what bills do I have to deal with this month? A retirement income designer asks, is this income dependable, low stress, and scalable, without me having to be here to nurse it all the time? Now, that's a completely different question, and it leads to completely different conclusions and decisions. Now, the good news is, if you spent 10, 15, 20 years building real estate knowledge, you're not starting from zero. You have assets, you have equity, you have experience. You just need a different strategy now that you're going into a different place in your life and you have different needs and different desires. So what does a real estate exit strategy actually look like? It's not just selling your properties and hoping you have enough. It's building a plan before you need one. And I want you to understand that I'm not bashing real estate, and I definitely don't want you to run out and sell all your rental properties today. Heck, I still do own rental properties. I just stopped pretending there's something that they're not. And I want you to think about what your equity can do differently by building income streams that don't require a property manager, don't require a bunch of tenant drama, or keeping you up at night wondering what the next disaster is going to be. Now, for some landlords, that's going to be a structured property sale with proceeds repositioned into something more reliable. For others, it's building digital income streams alongside those properties. That's what I'm doing. Something that works while you sleep, while you're off traveling, while you're actually enjoying family time with the grandkiddies, instead of worrying that you're going to have to spend the next 10 years greeting strangers in some big box store. So again, I'm not here suggesting that you dump all your properties tomorrow. I am suggesting that you build the exit strategy before the exit strategy gets built for you, because that's what smart investors do. We don't wait for the disaster to strike. We plan ahead. Now, if this video made you think differently about your real estate investments and your retirement plan, and you're sick and tired of the constant roller coaster ride of owning your rentals and never knowing whether you're going to be getting money or have to pay money to cover all the bills by the end of the month, here's what I want you to do. Go check out my next video where I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can learn the high-income skills to create reliable legacy wealth without having to deal with all the drama of another rental property. So go check out my next video now, and I'll see you there.